Segment 3. It's Friday. I'm Lisa Chastain, your host of Money is Sexy, this Friday afternoon in Las Vegas with my guest, Sonia Pedovic.
Yep.
Did I say that right?
You got it right.
Awesome. Owner of Torian Consulting. We've just had 2 amazing segments getting to know Sonia and her connection to her career. And this week is all about career development and really what you need to know as a candidate. So some secrets. Sonia's been in the industry for a long time, and she owns her own company now, Consulting IT. And we talked a lot about that in segment 2. This segment,
Yes.
we were talking about this right before we hopped on with you, is all about your online presence as a candidate. And there's some really scary stuff out there.
Mm-hmm.
And really, you have to be, and you probably already know this, and so we're just going to repeat it and make sure that you understand the ins and outs of it. But who you represent yourself to be online, wherever you are, will impact you as a candidate. So let's talk about that. What does that mean?
I mean, there's always those stories. Like, we'll post, like, called out sick today to go on an interview, and they post this stuff. And
that happens.
Yeah, their boss sees it, and they're like, "You're interviewing for jobs?" So, or I knew a guy who had gotten let go because he was calling in sick for the flu, yet later he was at the beach, like surfing.
Come on.
And, people just have to be smart about that, right?
Right.
And whether it's legal, right, or wrong, a lot of times people will just say, "Hey, Sonia Pedovic's looking for a job with me. I'm going to Google her name and just see what comes up. See her LinkedIn, see her social media." And if you're comfortable with what's out there and whether or not that allows you to get a job, then okay, though, you do want to be a little bit careful about your content.
A lot of it careful, I would think, right?
It's a funny conversation because, I participate in the political debate. I participate in the Me Too movement and, like, hearing what's going on, and I'll comment on those things. And as a business owner, I do have to weigh out, like, oh my gosh, would this impact my business? At the same time, I also don't want my voice to be squashed. So I do think that there's a fine line. Do I use curse words, or do I, belittle people or get into those? No, because that is not professional. That's not okay. It's not kind. And I don't want to be perceived as that person. I'm not that person.
Right.
But I do think that people just think they can post whatever and pictures of themselves, or whatever it is, and then go into a job search and then wonder, why am I not getting the hits that I'm getting, and not see that there is potentially a correlation. If it's out there, we tell our kids that, right? Whatever you do now has like a permanent home on the internet. You have to think about that in terms of yourself too.
You have to, and even though, so we're business owners and we are our business, it's very hard to separate the two 100%. Of us. So therefore I think of myself as a brand. Yeah. Right? 100%. And how I represent myself here represents my brand. But would you say that's the same thing for a candidate, that they are their own brand?
Yeah, I mean, the big thing with companies now, and it has always been, but the buzzwords around culture, right? You're building a team, and so if you're looking to hire someone and you look at their social media and whatever it is that they're posting about doesn't fit into what your company core values are or culture, I could see why someone would say, I'm not going to entertain that interview, right? That's not a fit. And so, I do believe that people associate Sonia Pedovic with IT recruiting in Las Vegas, and so I'm very protective of that, and I want that to be pursued. And same with my staff, like, be very aware of what it is that you post out there. And we'll talk to candidates too and be like, whoa, like, we looked you up online, and did you know that this was out there?
That's valuable.
Sometimes people don't know what's out there, or they don't even think about it. And I just think it's a conversation to have.
It's worth having with yourself. And what do you think? So I think that it's probably really valuable to ask people for feedback.
Yes.
To have recruiters or other people go out and search for you and see what they find and how you show up.
Yeah, my kids Google my name and my husband's name. We're both business owners, and that my son had done it. My 12-year-old had done it the other day, and he's like, "Look at here, you're teaching like a class." And I was like, "Whoa, that picture is so old." And so I had forgotten about it, but they can see me out there. They can see my husband out there in our businesses, and it's just a fingertip away.
It is. It's a sad reality, I think, that privacy is not what it used to be. But as a candidate, you need to know that how you're representing yourself online is, and there, it doesn't matter that you don't care about judgment. People are judging you, and that's just something you have to be willing to accept, whatever you put out there.
And if that's okay with you, then that's fine.
That's okay, but you might miss some opportunities.
Right.
Yeah.
And I could say, too, as companies, we're writing our culture, and our culture statement has to do with who we are as a business,
Yep.
who we want to work with as candidates and
Yep.
clients. So we may not agree with the company's culture, and we may choose not to do
Right.
business with them either. So it works both ways. So
Matchmaking all around.
Yes. And so, talking about that with social media, there's a website out there called Glassdoor that
Glassdoor.
people use, glassdoor.com, and a lot of candidates go there, or ex-employees. And so you have to take that with a grain of salt, because I think that there's a lot of valuable information on Glassdoor. Though,
Oh.
99% of the time, the people that post negative about the particular business they're posting about have left. Like they're mad and they've left the company. So
Sure.
I do feel like you have to look there.
Okay.
I think sometimes there's valuable information. They'll say, hey, in this type of job, they always do a code review, or they always
to
do this
know.
kind of test. And so there is information that is valuable. I do think it gets lost in the minutia of like sour grape people who are like, this manager was so mean to me, and they've just blasted
Victim
people
mentality.
online. And then
not good.
when we talk to candidates, we're like, okay, yes, this person may be, at times be difficult to work with, but this is what we know about them, and we
Right.
try to paint a very honest picture about every
Got
one
it.
of our clients. But that is a website I know people go to look at, the social media of companies.
Okay, well, I think that's valuable to know. And
100%.
just take it with a grain of salt
Yeah.
and use your own judgment
Yeah.
in it with that information,
And,
right?
and I don't know if we'll cover this later, but it's a good interview question to say, like, hey,
Oh.
I did some research on Glassdoor, and I saw that there were some really awesome reviews of your company, but I also saw that there were some reviews that had to do with bad culture. What would you say? And so
Wow.
there's a good way to sort of position that in an interview.
We are going to talk about interviews in our
Good.
next segment, and so we'll get back to that. But
Yes.
it's a great teaser, so make sure you come back for segment 4. Let's talk about the video resume.
Yeah.
Because I know I've YouTubed it, and people actually have their video resume on
Yeah.
YouTube, and they're sharing that information. So is that a common practice now? How often is it being used?
Yeah, someone
What's
was
the value
just
of it?
asking me about this today. I think that I've asked some of my clients here if they would be open to doing it, and the response I get is they don't have time to read resumes, nor do they have time to watch a video. So
Oh,
I think here
interesting.
in this town, we tend to be a little bit behind on some of those
Okay.
things that happen. Though in areas like the Silicon Valley and New York and maybe down in Austin too, and I'm sure Zappos
Zappos does that.
Yeah, they
Yeah.
do want it. I think it's valuable to have it out there and maybe have it as a clip on your LinkedIn page.
Oh, that's a good thing.
That way, you as a recruiter, I could say, hey, if you want to get a glimpse. There's also the other debate that's like, well, now you're opening this person up to discrimination. What if I don't like the way they look or communicate? I might not give them an interview. And so I see both sides of it. I think that you should create it, get feedback before
Have
you
it-
publish.
What are some important things that you would want in a video resume?
That's a great question. I think you have to have your elevator pitch down, like who you are, what you bring to the table, and why you're looking for a job.
got it.
And you might not put that on your LinkedIn if you're currently employed. So there's that whole, dynamic.
So hard.
I know. So you do have to be. I think you want to have a good elevator pitch of like who
Okay.
you are and what you bring to the table.
So
what you have
not
to
just as
offer.
a business owner,
Yeah.
everyone should have an elevator.
Yeah.
I think that's brilliant.
Yeah, why not?
What are you about?
Yes.
Right?
Who are you? What do you stand for? What are you looking for? What do you create? You
Yeah.
know, those type of things. Absolutely.
Okay.
Sure. Why not?
I think that's a great idea.
Yeah.
I think
It's
that
good practice too, because you have to force to talk about yourself.
I think it's so relevant with the career search is that if you don't know specifically, and I'm a really
Yeah.
big fan, and I believe this, I teach this with my clients about the power of manifestation.
Yeah.
And if you're not specific, especially in the job search, with what it is you want,
Yes.
it's not likely you'll get it.
Right.
And so the power of specificity,
Yeah.
but also understanding who you are and communicating that clearly will help a company know whether or not you're a match.
100%.
Right?
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's with anything in life, right?
I agree. So the more specific you can be, the better. And don't waste your time in a job search if you aren't clear on what you're looking
Yeah,
for.
right.
How do people get clear about what they want?
I think you have to know that you're done. Someone
Okay.
once compared it to like a relationship. Like you can't just keep breaking up with your boyfriend and going back and keeping breaking up and going back. You don't do that
That's
with a
true,
job
that's
either.
true.
You have to know, okay, this is not the relationship I want to
Yeah.
be in, be it the work relationship,
Yeah.
and I'm ready to make a move. And because it's a small town in Vegas, Vegas.
It is so small here.
Confidential searches only last so long sometimes, so you have to be really clear that you're ready.
Okay.
And in with that comes like the counter offer and all that stuff that you just don't want to get into.
Do you mentor your clients through that?
Yes, we a counter offer is a bad deal, and I'll say that till the day I die. If you've already decided you want to go and you're just leveraging for more money, whatever the reasons were that you were going to leave the company, or no matter how much more money they give you, they're always still going to be there.
The money will never be worth it, y'all.
Because you'll always be deemed that person who threatened to leave and came back for money.
Yeah, it'll never be worth it. So using it as leverage for more money. If you're miserable there, it doesn't matter how much they pay
And
you.
in a small town, it catches up with you.
It really does. Vegas is really small.
It is.
Although there might be many of you watching elsewhere. We know Vegas is a small town. Okay, cool. Great tips.
Yeah.
Thank you. How to, be safe online, be clear about what you're putting out there, be clear about who you are.
100%.
Be willing to experiment with video representation of yourself and a new way of communicating who you are and what you're about.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to talk in segment 4 about the interview.
Yes.
So lots of goodies here about making sure that you show up as the best candidate in the interview. So that's the goal, to do these things that we talked about in segments 2 and 3 to get you the interview, because that's half the battle.
Yeah.
So we'll talk about that next in segment 4. Come right back.